Hey gang, it's Aseth. I'm gonna do a more pointed video this time, not just a general one. Some of you probably have this thing called Facebook, and some of you have probably seen this meme going around with several variations with Obama's family talking about 8 years with no scandals and all this other junk. Just wanted to show you what spending 5 or 10 minutes on the internet could do. Some of these I knew myself, some of them I linked to other things, some of these I didn't really know about, and there's several I didn't have a lot of time to look into, but I'm just going to go over some of the Obama scandals to give you some ammunition to go point for point with liberals who think that Obama is the best president ever, which you can debate, but this is some debate points. The first thing, and this list is in no particular order aside from the last kind of two things that I think are important, and one is kind of personal. The assassination of Libya's ruler. We wanted to destabilize that government because that's what we needed to do. So we assassinated a democratically elected official, which is, awesome. No big deal there. Just if you ignore all the facts, it's not really a big deal. Then you have the persecution of several whistleblowers, Snowden, Manning. You could argue Julian Assange from WikiLeaks, people that are being, threatened, or some are in jail, some are extradited, some are in other countries where they're given the freedom to stay there, not being sent back to America for criminal prosecution. I'm sorry, it's cold in here. It's like I have my window open again, and it's like 59 degrees, and there's actually a breeze coming through the window. Going back to the way we decided to destabilize countries, you have Syria. With us, we've done everything there from help destabilize the government. There's allegations from actual U.S. troops, and I implore you to look this up, which is kind of my theme here. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I implore you to look all this up. U.S. troops saying that they're in Jordan and I believe one other country, I can't recall, but Jordan and another country, they're actually training soldiers fighting for ISIS because we would rather help ISIS and, quote, win in Syria than have Russia, quote, win. And our way to do it indirectly, one of our proxy wars is to have ISIS troops do it. We've also bombed and ended up killing Syrian military, a couple civilians. That's no bueno, but if you ignore that, that's not really, if you ignore the facts, that's not really a scandal. I don't know, I don't know how many of you know about this, and this is interesting to me with all the fake news going around. Kind of at the last minute, I don't remember the date, it was, I want to say late December, Obama quietly pushed through I'm going to look it up, I call it the Propaganda Act, but it is called the Countering Disinformation and Propaganda Act. I implore you to look it up, but in the short version of it, what this allows the government to do is, in light of the Russia hack, any outlet that they believe is pushing forward, in this case specifically Russian propaganda or propaganda of another country, they can sanction it, get internet providers to block them, which is already happening on Facebook. There's a couple really good videos. I know Tree of Logic does a really good video about the censoring going on, and the politicking around censoring that's happening in Germany, Sweden. I hear it's very similar. The UK, people are getting doors kicked in for posting not hate speech, not incites to violence, but things that talk about anti-Muslim immigration, or just anti-Muslim in general, which I know I'm not a big proponent of Islam, but I definitely don't hate all Muslims and think all Muslims are awful. But I don't think I should be thrown in jail, have my door kicked in, have my computers taken, and my house ransacked by police because I don't agree with the government's stance on immigration. So that's the Countering Disinformation and Propaganda Act. Look it up. So again, if you just omit that, the whole fake news, and going back to that real quick, one thing that bothers me about that specifically is now you have the government-sanctioned, quote, real news like CNN, because they're, you know, and MSNBC, all those, the credible real news sources, they're exempt from these because they're real news. They give you what you need to know. Whereas, you know, InfoWars, alternative media, I'm sure Fox, you know, they're the devil, are going to be limited, screened out, kept out of feeds, kept out of search engines, things like that. So going on to the next on my list, just giving out a couple $1 million to Iran. No big deal. You know, if you take a step back and look at all these, there's another one when I talk about Russia here in a moment. We give millions of dollars to these countries out of the left side of our mouths, and then on the right side of our mouths we talk about how they're a threat to democracy in West and global war and nuclear war and all this stuff. But here's a couple $1 million, no big deal. Just look the other way. Going on to Iran and terrorism, the Bergdahl situation. For those of you that don't know, the whole Bergdahl situation started when we traded, I believe it was 4 known terrorist leaders in Qatar for the release of Bergdahl, a U.S. soldier who, at the time, there was a big cover-up, not a scandal because, you know, there were no scandals. In short, he left his unit in, I believe it was Afghanistan. I'm 99% sure it was Afghanistan. He left his unit and became a sympathizer of Al-Qaeda, which some people say, to more or less degree, led directly to the loss of U.S. force lives there. And then we find out he left intentionally. He wasn't kidnapped, he wasn't taken, he left willingly. And then we trade 4 known terrorists for him. Also, which at the time the government said, we have no idea where these guys are going to end up. But there's a better chance than not that they're going to go back into dealing with this terror business that they were, you know, captured for in the first place. So we traded a deserter who cost American lives, who sympathized with Muslim extremists for 4 Muslim extremists, and no scandal there, just look the other way. I don't know, some of you have probably heard about the Clinton email scandal, you know, based on timelines presented by certain reporters and agencies, generally alternative media, because CNN will tell you, we're good, there are just a couple of emails, just no big deal, who doesn't? Obama knew about the emails, kind of swept it under the rug. On top of it, Hillary was his Secretary of State. So with that said, take a minute back for some of you that hadn't paid much attention to it. The lies that Clinton and her organization or people around her presented just escalated one after another. First, there were no emails. Then, there were only a couple. Then there were, a couple thousand. And then there were, a lot of thousands. And then, we also didn't know they were classified, because I didn't know what C means on an email, on a classified server. Lies just got progressively snowballed into something worse. But, hey, I deleted emails, so why should hers be a crime? Just if you don't think about any of this, it really makes a lot of sense. The Clinton Crime Foundation and the money that they stole from the Haiti humanitarian relief, there's that. No big deal there. It's just, who needs humanitarian aid? Just, it's better to keep it in the organization. This is one of the ones I was talking about, the irony of the way we deal with foreign countries. Russia now is our big number one threat, and they're a threat to the world, and we're going to start a nuclear war, and all this stuff. Well, then why was it that several years ago, in a deal brokered by the Clinton Foundation, we sold, I want to say it was 20%, but a significant amount of our uranium to Russia and Russian companies? Today they're a threat, but yesterday a Clinton-backed organization could make millions of dollars off of the deal that they brokered. selling uranium to that country. Makes sense. Again, just no thought there. Just believe what CNN tells you. Remember, just like when they talk about reading WikiLeaks documents, it's a crime if you read it. Just listen to them. It's legit. Operation Fast and Furious. This, I just hate the name. It just sounds so fake, which is why I didn't take it seriously for a while until I started looking it up several months ago in relations to a movie. I saw a really good movie called The Hollow Point. Low-key movie about gun and bullet trafficking from the southern U.S. states to Mexico, because after this, it'll put it into context, but the movie specifically is about supplying ammunition to cartels because they can't get enough ammo down there for all the guns that we sold them in Operation Fast and Furious. Again, look it up. I'm not going to go into super details, but the U.S. gave and sold military-grade weapons to gangs, cartels, and in the movie The Hollow Point, it's just based loosely on the fact that now we've given them so many guns that they don't have enough bullets. So it's a big thing down there to buy bullets en masse in places and run them to the southern border and give them and sell them to cartels. Good times there. The other one, and this one is kind of personal to me, is the VA scandal and crisis. There have been several veterans over the last couple of years who ended up killing themselves. Not that that's uncommon, but on VA property. Some have been turned away. Some have not gotten adequate care. One gentleman went there and said he needed to be admitted, was turned away, went out in the parking lot, called his dad, and ended up killing himself in his car because the VA said he didn't need immediate care. And you can look up, there's the crappy care is a big thing, but the VA, they call them the VA death list of people who are kind of put on these created, fabricated wait lists to die. Veterans who had problems serving the country, serving Obama, serving all these people, and would get terminal illnesses, and it was easier to put them on a fake list saying that they were waiting for care, letting them die off, than actually giving them care. I made an appointment to go see my primary care physician in August of last year, August 2016. The first day I can get in is the last day of February. That's a couple months, it's 6 months waiting to go see my primary care physician. That's the VA care for you. That's also single source health care. All the people who say, oh, we need it, it's so great. Well, this is what you get when there's no competition. You don't get what you want. You don't get to price it out or go off, look at other options. There's no competition. You get what is the source of health care. Enjoy it. 6 months later, in February, I'll get to go see my doctor, at which point, because of my several medical conditions, he's going to make appointments for me to go see my lung specialist, get an MRI, check my eyes for my sarcoid, get blood tests, MRI of my back, all these things that I have to get. So when I go there 6 months from the time I made the appointment, they're going to say, congratulations, I'm going to sign you up for these appointments. Now you get to go get those, which will be anywhere from 2 weeks to several more months out. So here I am a year later getting my annual checkups. And then going real fast past other ones, there's several scandals that I looked up that I'm not well researched on, and I know things are blown out of proportion, but the fact that it is talked about, when some of these talk about millions and trillions of dollars, billions of dollars getting lost, something to look forward to, which in and of itself is a scandal. But they have one, it's the Pigford scandals, which involves exploiting money from farmers. The NSA government, NSA spying on citizens and foreign nations, again, which is part of Snowden's whole release of files to WikiLeaks. There was what they call just the Obama stimulus heist, where trillions of dollars that was supposed to go to create jobs has no accountability on where the money was, what the benefits were. The GSA cover-up, the Colorado River polluting, and then another interesting one is I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, the Salandra scandal, which, in short, the government acquired grants and money and taxpayer money, your money. You paid green companies to come out with these outlandish, quote, green benefits and procedures and technologies, and again, you have millions and billions of dollars thrown at these people with no results and no accountability. It's gross. That's your money gone. For political, I don't want to say propaganda, but narratives maybe, telling you about how great it is to do these, green solutions. You just throw enough money at it, the earth will cool off back to what it should be. That's how climate change works. Just gotta throw money and throw money and throw money at it. That's it. I know this video is a lot longer than I thought it would be. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, let me know. Thoughts, let me know. And I hope some of this gives you some talking points, or at least thinking points, that I encourage you to go research yourself, look into, and make yourself aware. So, thanks a lot, gang. Go easy.